Many of us live either in a small town or large metropolis, and sometimes wonder how it came to be. Well, with the games listed below, you can develop your own metropolis, rule your own people, and or even send traumatic disasters their way to see how your city will react to it. Here are my top 5 city builder games for you to get lost in. But before we begin and you wreck that building, nice, I ask you all to search for that big red subscribe button and make sure to give it a press, hit that like, and ding that bell to keep in the know when MGN uploads content. Be a good mayor and show your support. Tropico 5 is the 5th installment of the Tropico franchise. Obviously. The setting and premise behind Tropico 5 are the same as the previous games in the series. Players assume the role of El Presidente of a small tropical island. In that role, you manage a small nation through city building, growth, diplomacy, and even trade. Even though it's similar to the earlier versions, Tropico 5 introduces a number of new gameplay features that help it stand apart from previous titles. It is the first Tropico game to feature a multiplayer mode, and it includes both a cooperative and competitive multiplayer mode for up to 4 players. It also includes eras that players manage their nation through, from the colonial era up to the modern times, which takes your island's nation to the 21st century. Tropico 5 has 2 full expansion packs, Espionage and Waterborne, that add new missions and water-based structures which only add to the game and sets it apart from the franchise.
Seriously, you are without doubt the worst dictator I have ever heard of.
But you have heard of me. Ha.
SimCity 2013 is a reboot of the popular SimCity series of city building simulation games, which, to be fair, was one of the original of city builders. It was released in 2013 and is the first game in the SimCity series since SimCity 4. So say that 3 times fast.
Darrison, but let's go to Terrace Chase and look for the head of the pit.
The premise for SimCity 2013 is much the same as any other city building simulation. Players attempt to grow a city from a small town or village into a thriving metropolis. Like previous SimCity games and other city building games, players zone tracts of land for residential, commercial, or industrial development. They create roads and transportation systems connecting areas of the cities to one another. This version of SimCity was released as a massive multiplayer online game, but was met with some criticism for bugs encountered upon release and its requirements for always online network connection to play and save data. However, after its release, Maxis and Electronic Arts removed the always online requirement and updated the game so that it now includes an offline single-player version as well as a multiplayer version. After the bugs and connection issues were resolved, the game was met with mostly positive reviews, but still had a few issues when it came to gameplay, mechanics, and available size of map. But overall, it is SimCity, and it's still enjoyable. Anno 2205 is a sci-fi futuristic city that puts players in control of mankind's colonization of the moon. 2205 marks the 6th game in the Anno series franchise created by Blue Byte. Players play the role of a corporate CEO. At the beginning of the game, players are tasked to build different metropolises on Earth. When citizens' demands are satisfied, they're able to produce more goods. Eventually, players are asked to develop and conduct research in Arctic regions in order to find cost-efficient ways to launch rockets to the moon, and upon completion, players may colonize the moon and build cities inside its craters. Resources of the moon, such as helium-3, are vital to the development of cities on Earth and can be sent back to Earth. The CEO competes against other corporations in colonizing the moon, building megacities and developing new technology to help men flourish away from Earth. Features in Anno 2205 include city and construction management, which includes housing, infrastructure, and economic goods, all of which help grow your city and colony. In addition to managing cities on the moon, players also manage cities on Earth to establish trade routes between cities to share resources. Cities in Anno 2205 are much larger than any other previous 5 titles in the series, and seems to flow much smoother and effectively, developing a very detailed and satisfying game. Banished is a unique type of city building game, where instead of developing a large metropolis of cities, you're actually controlling a small group of banished citizens to develop a small and quaint town. The game starts you off with some general goods, such as clothing, tools, food, and more, but as time goes on, you need to harvest additional food, clothing, and tools, otherwise your laborers spend more time harvesting wood and stone, and people start to die either by starving to death or freezing in winter. The game allows you to assign laborers to specific professions that will either make food, clothing, fire, wood, alcohol, and much more. You need to plan ahead with this game and make sure you have enough houses available so that people can give birth to children, which then turn to laborers to help you out in town. Trade management, resource harvesting, and overall worker planning is key in developing a thriving hamlet for your banished citizens to grow old in. Just like SimCity, City Skylines give you a complete control of almost every aspect of developing a thriving city, from residential, commercial, and industrial placement, traffic control, subway infrastructure, and overall happiness via parks and attractions. The game has a ton of items and methods to always make your city different from the other. Since its initial release, City Skylines has seen 5 expansions released, giving you different ways to make your city unique and different. From having plant life grow on the side of a building to flying around in hot air balloons around the city, there's always ways to get from one side of your city to another. That is, until you buy another tile to build and expand your city even further. City Skylines is a fantastic and well-built game. Planning is made easy, and the overflow of mods available for the game allows you to add thousands of items to your already packed library of buildings, parks, special attractions, and more. City Skylines, in my opinion, takes the first spot as it meets many criteria for the city builder games, which gets better as time moves on. Who knew planting trees wherever you wanted was therapeutic? Those are my top 5 for the week. Have you played any of these city builder games? Make sure to share down below in the comment section. Remember guys, hit that like, make sure to look for that big red subscribe button, and ding that bell to know when MGN uploads content. For myself, I love city builder games. It's a fantastic distraction from the usual traffic and overflow of subway riders in real life. It allows your imagination to run wild, while at the same time gives you a minor insight in how a city is developed. Obviously, it isn't real life, but the feeling of sitting down, starting a new town, and seeing it grow is just as satisfying and refreshing. Remember to hit that start button, guys, and game on.